Hello again. The ostensible reason that we need government is so that they can keep us safe and protect us from harm. It's in the interest of all governments, therefore, for the people they govern to feel frightened and in need of protection from various dangers. For this reason, successive British governments have tried to maintain a constant air of crisis over the years about every conceivable subject, economics to terrorism, and even the weather has now been weaponized for this purpose. When they run out of any other supposed threats, the climate and weather provides a handy menace which none of us can evade. This ties in, of course, with climate change and global warming, because this can be used both to justify higher energy bills and also the flood of supposed refugees gathered on the beaches of France. They've been driven there, at least in part, by climate change in their own countries. Any kind of weather can be enlisted in this game, which is why the expression global warming has rather fallen from favour. It makes people laugh if snowstorms and freezing weather are blamed on global warming, and so the looser term of climate change is now used. Schools are, of course, closed if there is any snow, which creates immense problems for working parents. But this drives home to them the fact that climate change affects them as well. It strikes everybody. We've become used to snow days when schools are closed, which are a fairly bizarre idea. The children talk of it openly as, oh, perhaps there'll be a snow day, meaning that if it snows in their district, schools will all close down. But today, we've got a new phenomenon. Nearly all the schools in Northern Ireland are closed today because it is a wind day. Seriously, I'm not making this up. In the description to this video, I give a link to a piece about this. It's going to be windy in Ireland, which is not particularly uncommon, and so all the schools are closing down. All this, I might mention it's a matter of time before we start seeing Wednesdays in the rest of the United Kingdom as well. I would be very surprised if within a year we haven't got Wednesdays in Scotland, Wales, and England as well. All this occupies people's minds and makes them anxious. Young people in particular are driven to depression and despair and crippling fear because they believe that the world is about to end because of rising sea levels and so on. An awful lot of young people are giving this as a reason for not wanting to have children. They don't want to bring them into a world which is about to end. Closing schools in this way ensures that the rising generation will be terrified about the weather long before they become adults. That's the reason for snow days and now winter days. Telling kids that all the wildlife is dying because of climate change helps to indoctrinate them into this fear as well. They're told that not only polar bears are at risk, but that biodiversity in their own country is shrinking and at hazard because of climate change. It's not true, of course, but it serves to make them even more fearful and upset, and therefore easily manipulated by the time they reach adulthood. In fact, there were more deer in Britain than at any time since the Norman Conquest in 1066. Otters were on the verge of extinction in the 1960s, and now they are seen in every county in Britain and even in central London. There are 40 times as many grey seals in the country as there were a century ago, and that's to say nothing of beavers and wild boar. Our children are the future, and if they can be convinced that Britain is in deadly peril from the weather and changing climate, then it will be a lot easier to control them and make them do as they are told. Those poor polar bears, those poor refugees driven from their homes by climate change. Shouldn't we offer them shelter? Our shrinking biodiversity. Isn't it worth higher electricity bills to save the dormice and bats? I'm make my prediction now that just as Northern Ireland has seen wind days today for the first time, it will not be very long at all before we have wind days joining snow days as a recognised thing. it really does serve to draw attention to children, give children the attention to climate change that those above us feel that they should have.